to, anybody has an idea of where they want to go in the future, who they want to be, what type of career? Anybody has an idea? How many seniors do we have in here? Raise your hand. How many seniors? Juniors? Sophomores? Okay, so young group, sophomores and freshmen. All right, so I forgive you all for not knowing these things. Write his name down, Marcus Garvey. You got a phone? Text yourself, Marcus Garvey. You want to find out who this guy is, Marcus Garvey, M-A-R-C-U-S-G-A-R-V-E-Y. He also started the Black Crosses. You heard of Red Cross? He started the Black Cross. The Negro World, which I mentioned. Anybody ever read The Source or heard about The Source magazine?
Yeah.
Or the Black Enterprise magazine?
Yes.
I know you do. What about these students?
Their parents better give them that real stuff.
All right. The Negro World, before it was any
of
of that.
You got your phone out, you dead wrong. You got your phone out home, what?
I was telling them to write it down.
Yeah, he
write down Marcus Garvey.
That text,
Write down Marcus Garvey. Don't use this time as a chance to get on Instagram or Facebook and text your friends. Write that name down. You want to study who this guy is. It's criminal that we wasn't taught him because he actually wanted to turn the minds, turn the way we thought about ourselves to think more positive about ourselves. In New York, he had the biggest parade ever recorded in New York. Hundreds of thousands of black folks wearing uniforms, being proud of who they are. Black is beautiful. Black excellence. He started all of that. People like Malcolm X, people like Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Umar Johnson, who else? Denzel Washington. They all studied this guy, Marcus Garvey. But we don't know about him. And it's a shame. Any questions so far? I wish I know about Booker T. Washington or Harriet Tubman. She's a runaway enslaved African. Don't use the name slave. From here on out, when you refer to people that are on the plantations, do not refer to them as slaves. Refer to them as enslaved Africans. Because they're more than slaves. Alright? But you're right. And she said one thing, she said that was very profound. She could have saved thousands of more enslaved Africans if they only knew that they were slaves. A lot of them wanted to stay on the plantations. Why? Because they were comfortable. They were comfortable just eating from the ground or eating the leftovers. That's where chitlins come from. Anybody eat chitlins in here? I don't like chitlins.
No, I don't eat nobody's intestines.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the food I eat came from scraps. You know what I mean? Queen Nzinga. Anybody heard of Queen Nzinga? I'm quite sure you didn't because I didn't hear about Queen Nzinga. I got out of college. Queen Nzinga was an African queen in the southern region of Africa who fought the Portuguese for over 30 years against slavery. As a matter of fact, it's been written that she killed her brother. She killed her own brother. Why? Because he was selling his brothers and sisters to the Portuguese for slavery. So she killed him because she understood. She knew that her father would have been down with that. That's how gangster she was. So, ladies, you know who Queen Nzinga is? I talk about it in this book right here, Queen Nzinga. She's in my Warrior Queen chapter. And for the guys who were thinking like, what about the men? You guys that think about that? You guys thought about that? Like, why you write about men? Anybody thought about that? Well, I'm working on my next book called 7 Types of Kings, Queens Desire. So, which is going to be even more important. Because a lot of our young men don't know who they are. You don't know you're supposed to be providers and protectors of the community. You don't know that you're supposed to treat a lady, a proper way to treat a lady. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of you guys don't get the numbers that you want when you talk to a female because you don't know how to approach her. You know what I'm saying? Don't know how to be a gentleman. Well, I'm going to talk about that in that book. You agree with me, sister? So I go about, going over those things and all that stuff. And I would love if anybody has a question for me. I'd love to answer it. Anything about what I do today? What you guys think I do today?
I got a question for you.
Huh? Make films. That's one. Well, if Miss Grace didn't tell you guys, I'm actually a marketing manager for a Fortune 500 company. I actually just started working for, anybody heard of a company called AT&T?
Yeah.
Well, I work for them. As a matter of fact, I'm supposed to be there right now. But I wanted to take the time to be here with you all because I understood that when she asked me to come here, it was an honor for me to come back, knowing that something that I may say can save your life or inspire you to be great. So they pay me, I bet you won't guess how much they pay me an hour.
$60 an hour.
Be pretty close.
55, 50.
My salary is nearly 6 figures.
You see what I'm saying?
6 hours.
Right. And how do I do that? How did I get to this point from being in the jail cell to working for one of the biggest companies in the world?
That first step you just told these kids about 20 minutes ago.
Which step was that?
Write down your goal.
Speak it, believe it, execute the plan.
Yep.
Now, it wasn't easy for me to get this position as a marketing, internet marketing manager for them, but there was steps to it. I worked hard and believed in who I was. As a matter of fact, when I leave here today, I'm going straight back to work. I'm going to take off the ashika, of course. I can't be in there screaming Wakanda and Black Power, you know what I'm saying? This is corporate America. But I honor this time and space that I'm in front of you all. And so I'm here to share with you guys how to accomplish your goals in life. And if I were you, it has to be a question. So, anybody, y'all nervous or something? That are scary? All right, we got a brave King. Go ahead, King. What's up?
So you talk about all these things. What timeline was it during? When did it take place?
Great question. Queen Offset, who I mentioned, you're talking about 20, possibly 30, 50,000 years ago. People don't really know how long ago it was. But they do know that the writings are on the walls. And this is BC.
What kind of writing we talking about?
Hieroglyphics.
Talking about stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm feeling that. This is nice.
Yeah, my friend of mine got that.
Can I have this?
No, sir.
These are the wings of our set. And you can't really see
This
it.
where your
but,
angel wings
oh,
come
this
from.
is nice. Ask him, find out where he got this. I want one of these.
Yeah, man. I got that. This is the top of the come. I got over 300 gemstones. I used to study gemstone energy centers.
All right.
Things like that. My students don't know a lot about me, but I got, you know what I'm saying, I'm a Reiki healer, yoga master also, but I don't really share that scriptures. I don't know where it's school. But yeah,
We gotta connect.
I got over 300. I got over 300 gemstones.
Oh wow. I have one of them right now.
They know that.
They know that? Yeah. That was a great question, by the way. BC, which means before Christ, right? But then there's BCE. So sometimes when you read the history book, you don't see BCE because not everybody believed in Christ. So BCE represents before the common era. And so years from now, you're going to be like, you know what? King Kevin did say I was going to see BCE. You know what I mean? I'm a believer of Christ just to make it known. So I'm not saying, I'm just letting you guys know what time it is, you know? Any other question? Y'all scared? All right, Queen, she a brave one. I like you. Go ahead.
When you were younger, did you see yourself in the position that you're in now, or did you have other aspirations?
Great question. When I was, actually, I didn't see myself going to college or thinking that it was possible to go to college because of my surroundings. I grew up in the ghetto. All I seen was gunshots, you know, people getting arrested, doors get kicked in, drug deals, women getting beat up. I vividly remember, and I talk about that in my first book, The Courage to Believe, watching this woman getting beat up by her, you know, black man, you know, beating up this black woman. And I remember she was fine because I was looking at her like, wow, she tried to lay. This guy pulls up and just, you know, trying to pull her in the car, and he's just beating her. Must have been her boyfriend or husband. That, like, scarred me for life just thinking. That's why I never put my hands on a woman, because of that experience. I see my mom get beat up, you know, a couple of times. So these type of things really pushed me to be better, if anything. But I didn't see myself getting out the hood unless I did something, you know, something ingenious. So actually playing football and track is what got me to college in the first place. So that was a great question. And my mom, when I was in the 3rd grade, she bought me, in the 4th grade, she bought me a typewriter. I was always creative. You guys ever seen them old school typewriters that we got a press and there's a ribbon on it?
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
So she bought me one. She bought me one of those because I was always writing, and so that's how actually she didn't know it. Maybe she did. Who knows? You know, rest in peace. Her name is Queen Rosette Pierre. That her planting that seed in me at such a young age that years later I would become an author, writing books. You know, so now it all makes sense. And if it wasn't for my 5th grade teacher as well, Mrs. White, I used to have a big speech impediment problem. I used to stutter a lot. Anybody used to stutter or had a speech impediment problem? I had it real bad, trust me, I had it bad, bro. I feel people used to pick on me, and so that really lowered my confidence as well. But when I was in the 5th grade, Mrs. White made me believe in myself, you know, and she made me look into the future more, actually all the students. And so if it wasn't for her make me think more in the future, not of where I am right now, but having faith that things will be better in the future. That I don't think I'll be here where I am, you know, and especially reaching the level I'm at now with the company that I'm working for. You know what I'm saying? I'm making good money. Instead of me begging anybody for money and or trying to get people to support me and invest in my dreams and goals, now I can invest in myself and my community, which is even more important. And still, I still have my small business, Gotta Be Market. I'm still doing that after work. As a matter of fact, I just turned in like 2 proposals last week to people that I'm waiting to see. And I don't even need their money no more, you know what I'm saying? But I still want to help them get their business to the next level, because it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about what you can do and give back. A lot of these rappers and entertainers and athletes, they show they got all this money, they show them they got all these cars, they're not doing nothing really to give back to their community, which is vitally important. A true queen and king, a true leader gives back. I don't care how much money you have, you ain't always been rich all your life, you know. So I love that question. Thank you. Yes, brother.
What type of struggles did you go through when you became an author?
Kind of struggles. One, for instance, man, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of words. Actually, this book is not as big as this one. This one has about, 250 pages? 260, 270 pages. I don't remember what the word count was, but actually formulating all my thoughts in an organized fashion was a challenge. You know, you're talking about maybe 20,000 words or something like that, you know. But being able to do that and articulate it, you know, I have this ghetto English anyway, so that's something that was a challenge as well. But just being focused, every day being consistent, you know what I'm saying? The only way you're going to be successful in life, outside of what? SBE, I hope you guys remember that, because trust me, it's going to make you rich. SBE, speak and believe, execute the plan. Being consistent every day on what you believe in, you know what I'm saying, or the things you want to do. And writing the first book, I didn't even have a computer when I first started writing. Guess how I wrote it? In a journal. I didn't even have a computer desk, let alone a computer. Then when I finally found a computer, an old computer, I was typing on the floor. I laid out on the floor and started typing. That's actually the beginnings of how that first book was, you know. And then eventually I got me a desk and started really.
That's very difficult, because after that, when you're typing in that position, your thoughts aren't the same.
Right.
You can't really articulate because you don't have the correct posture.
Yeah, and you don't have limited time because it's going to get so uncomfortable, you know. So, but yeah, it's possible though. Just, you know, a lot of people ask me, how do you write a book, or how can I get it from out my head into actual paper? Start with one word, one letter. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just don't worry when you write your book. Don't worry about the spell checking and it being perfect or sounding right. Just get the ideas out there. Go back over it later. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't say type down 1,000 pages or 100 pages and then go back. You know, at some point in time, go back, polish it up, and then keep moving forward with it. But that's definitely something that I love doing. Like I shared with you guys the slave dream that I had, right? And that convicted me to, you know what, you really got to write and take this more seriously. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing. I take my dreams and goals very seriously. And I don't invest in anybody's dreams and goals who don't take their dreams and goals seriously. Your time, your energy is vitally important. What you do with your time, make sure that it counts. Okay? Make sure that it counts, you know what I mean? From your friends, the type of friends you hang around with. Now, I mentioned to you guys, the type of friends you have determines how successful you become and how successful you are. Be mindful of the conversations you have with your friends, who you call your friends. Alright? I'm not saying to drop everybody to date, you know what I'm saying? But consider it, just consider it. Because some of them will be in prison. Some of them will die early. You don't have to be the one that go in prison and die early. You have the choice. Any other questions? All right, let me ask you guys another question. All right. This is for $20. Who was the queen that I said fought the Portuguese for 30 years? What's her name? Hey, he actually got it. You got a cash app? All right, cash app. Just out of class. All right, here for another $20.
He was paying attention.
He's paying attention?
Good job. Very good.
There's another question. What was the name of the newspaper that I said was started by Marcus Garvey. That was the biggest publication in America at the time.
Black Cross.
Black Cross.
Black Cross was the nurses organization.
Like
No.
Black Hat.
You trying to Google it? I know you probably know already.
I wasn't listening, but I remember it was like an African something.
It was called the Negro World.
That's right.
It's called Negro World. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much what I have for you all today. You have a question, you said? Oh, do I have another question? What can I ask? Oh, say it again?
When I talk about people, I stutter a lot.
I mean, you know how you fix that? Get a book, right? And just read out loud. You know, whether it's to yourself, do that for about 30 minutes. Just keep doing it. Just read it out loud. Read words out loud. And you'll be cured of it within a matter of weeks. Let me see. Other question I have.
It took a lot of courage for him to ask you that question. He struggled with that. I've been knowing him for 2 years.
Okay.
So I'm glad that he asked you that question.
And he's here right now, you know what I'm saying? And ask that question in front of everybody. That just means you got courage, you believe in yourself, brother, you know? And any more questions, any more concerns? All right, well, I guess that'll be all for today, ladies and gentlemen. My name is King Kevin Dorival, and it's an honor and privilege to be here.
Okay.
And may God bless all of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I need you to take my cash app is,
I guess we don't go to
that's the cash app right there.
To the auditorium,
But you put a dollar sign in front of it.
Right, we don't see. What time y'all got to be there? What time we start?
I want to get this clean as
I go
possible.
to
You can have it.
You're welcome.
I signed it for you as well.
Yeah, it's not personal.